The galaxy had always been full of empires. Large fleets sailed between stars, planets were controlled by strong governments, and civilizations fought over trade routes and resources. Each empire thought it was the strongest. Each believed that the humans were weak, small, and unimportant. They had heard of Earth and its people, but most of the galaxy laughed at the idea that humans could ever be a threat. Humans had never been part of the big wars. Power. Their technology was considered simple, their fleets small, and their colonies few. Many empires even said humans were primitive. But humans were not primitive. They were patient. They were careful. And they had watched. For centuries, humans studied the galaxy from the shadows. They learned from every empire, every war, and every mistake. They built, slowly, secretly, and in ways the other empires could not imagine. They had no need to show their strength until the right moment. It started on an ordinary day in the border sector of the galaxy. Star systems glimmered in the distance, and space stations floated quietly around their planets. Suddenly, a new signal appeared on the monitors of every nearby empire. It was strong, large, and unlike anything the sensors had ever detected. Admiral Leo Grant of the Saurian Empire stared at the screen in disbelief. "What is that?" he asked, his voice tight with tension. He had seen many strange ships before, but this was different. This was huge, much bigger than any fleet ship. It had no markings, no signature design, and it moved in a way that defied their understanding of physics. Lieutenant Maya Hill, standing beside him, checked the readings again.
"It doesn't match anything in our database, sir. It's not a civilian ship."
"It's not a warship, it's something else. Something bigger than anything we've seen." Meanwhile, deep inside the ship, Captain Ryan Carter was at the bridge. He looked at the vast view of space before him. His ship was enormous, a moving fortress that had taken decades for humans to build. Its hull reflected starlight, smooth and unbroken, and the engines glowed softly, powerful but silent. Ryan ran his hand across the control panel. "Lieutenant Bennett," he said calmly, "prepare to enter the Saurian sector. Keep shields up. Stay ready, but do not fire unless I give the order." Lieutenant Claire Bennett nodded. She had been with Ryan since the beginning of this mission. She trusted him completely. But she had seen humans do things other species could only dream of, and she knew that today would be remembered for centuries in the galaxy. The human ship moved forward. It did not accelerate in the usual way. Its motion was smooth, almost gliding, and sensors from nearby empires could not measure it accurately.
It seemed to appear from nowhere, and as it approached the border, every empire scrambled.
The Saurian Empire sent a small reconnaissance fleet first. Their ships flew toward the human vessel, weapons ready, hoping to get a signal or identify it before it became a threat. Admiral Grant's voice came over the comms, firm but tense. "Identify yourself immediately. You are in Saurian space. State your name and purpose." There was silence for a moment. Then a calm, clear voice came from the human ship. It spoke in perfect Saurian language, but also broadcast in dozens of others. "Greetings." "We are humans. We mean no harm.
We seek only to observe and establish contact with all empires."
The Saurian commanders were stunned. Humans could speak their language perfectly? That alone was surprising. But the size of the ship and the confidence in the voice caused panic among the fleet. Admiral Grant turned to his staff. Prepare defense formation. If this is a trick, we must be ready.
Firepower on standby!
On the bridge of the human ship, Ryan Carter smiled slightly. I don't want to fight, he said. But if they attack, we cannot allow them to strike first. Defense only. Non-lethal if possible. Lieutenant Bennett nodded.
All systems ready.
Energy shields at full. Drones prepared. Bestowed. Weapons on standby. Non-lethal protocols set.
From the observation deck, Ensign Liam Brooks, the youngest officer aboard, watched the Saurian ships closing in.
They don't know what we have, he whispered. They think we are small, weak, human, but they have no idea. The human ship reached the edge of the Saurian fleet. The alien ships began scanning aggressively, sending out probing beams and sensors. Ryan leaned forward and pressed a few buttons. A holographic map of the fleet appeared. Lieutenant Ryan said, "We need to make them see us, but not scare them yet. Let's make them curious first." Claire Bennett smiled. "Understood, Captain." Initiating projection. A soft glow spread across the hull, forming a pattern that pulsed in colors the Saurians had never seen. Their sensors began to malfunction as they tried to process it. The ship seemed alive, almost breathing, almost watching. One of the Saurian admirals backed away, slightly, confused. "What is this?" he muttered. "It's impossible."
We are humans. You have underestimated us for too long.
We are here now. Observe, learn, and respect. The Saurian fleet hesitated. Some ships wanted to fire. Others wanted to flee. Denon, 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 denon. They had always assumed humans were weak. They had never imagined humans would have such a presence, such power, such confidence. Meanwhile, the human crew went about their work calmly. Scientists checked instruments. Engineers monitored the shields. Pilots practiced maneuvers. Everyone knew the stakes. Humanity had been patient for centuries, and now the time had come to show the galaxy that humans were no longer to be ignored. "Captain," Claire said, "they are sending a small fleet to intercept. They might try to scan us directly." Ryan nodded. "Bow. Let them. We will not hide. But remember, only defense if necessary. We cannot allow an unnecessary war." The alien ships moved closer. The first scanning beam hit the human hull. But nothing happened. Their sensors went wild. They tried again. Still nothing. The ship was impenetrable. It seemed to absorb their energy, bending it, twisting it, nullifying it. "Admiral Grant, report," said one Saurian officer. "They are not responding to our scans. Our weapons are useless against them. Our fleet cannot even get close." "They are enormous and strong, but quiet. They are waiting," the admiral replied, panic in his voice. "On the human ship," Liam Brooks whispered to his friend beside him. "It's like they are looking at a ghost." "They don't know what to do, and they can't touch us."
Ryan Carter looked out at the stars. "Let them see who we are."
Let them understand. We are humans, and we will not be ignored.
In the Saurian command center, tension grew. Messages were sent to nearby empires. They had to warn them. They had to understand what was happening. But it was already too late. The humans had arrived, and nothing in the galaxy could predict what they would do next. On the human ship, the crew remained calm. Their mission was simple: show the galaxy that humans had grown, that they were no longer small, that patience and intelligence could achieve more than wars ever could. Hours passed, but the humans did not attack. They did not threaten. They simply moved through the Saurian sector, calm, measured, unstoppable. The alien fleet watched in awe and fear, realizing that everything they thought they knew about humans was wrong. By the time the human ship reached the center of the Saurian sector, the empires had sent messages to one another. They used words like power, danger, and unbelievable. For centuries, humans had been underestimated. Now the galaxy was forced to reconsider. Ryan Carter turned to his crew. "We are not here to fight today, but we are here to show that humans are ready, that the galaxy must respect us. Stay sharp. Stay calm. The next steps are just as important as this first step." Claire Bennett nodded. "Yes, Captain. Everyone is ready." Bus. The ship moved onward, silent but mighty, and every empire in the galaxy watched it with a mixture of fear, confusion, and growing respect. Humans had arrived. Yes, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Even the smallest signals from human colonies had been strengthened. Other empires now knew that humanity had grown quietly, secretly, and with patience. They had built something no one could have imagined, a ship that represented the strength, intelligence, and spirit of the human race. As the humans moved forward, many alien leaders began to whisper among themselves. "We mocked them!" We ignored them. And now, we may have made a terrible mistake. And in the shadows of space, the human ship continued its steady path, ready for whatever would come next. It did not rush. It did not panic. It simply existed, a living symbol of human patience, power, and pride. No one could challenge them yet. But soon, the galaxy would learn what it meant to face humanity. The galaxy had never seen a ship like the human vessel. It moved quietly through the Saurian sector, yet its presence caused waves of fear and confusion.
Every empire had received the reports. A massive, unknown ship had entered their space.
Most assumed it was a bluff. Few believed that humans could build such a warship. But now, the Saurian Empire and the nearby empires were about to see the truth.
Admiral Leo Grant stared at the main display on the command bridge.
The human ship had not fired. It had not responded aggressively. Yet, his entire fleet was on edge. "What is it doing?" he muttered. His voice carried a mixture of fear and disbelief. Lieutenant Maya Hill shook her head. "I don't know, sir. It's not moving like any warship we've ever seen. Its trajectory is too smooth, too controlled. And every time we scan it, the results are confusing. Our sensors can't even measure its power correctly." Grant clenched his fists. "Prepare the fleet. If it attacks, we must be ready to respond immediately. I will not let this human ship walk through our space unchallenged." On the human ship, Ryan Carter watched the Saurian fleet with calm eyes. "They are nervous," he said to Claire Bennett. "That's good. It means they recognize we are different. But we must not strike first. We show strength, but we do not provoke." Claire nodded. "All systems stable. Drones ready. Defensive shields at full.
I have never seen anything like this in my training simulations, Captain.
Ryan smiled faintly. Then it's real. Remember, Claire? Patience and precision. Bah. That is how humans always win.
The Saurian fleet moved closer.
Their main ships formed a wide arc surrounding the human vessel. They wanted to trap it, to force it to reveal its capabilities.
They fired a few warning beams, not strong enough to damage the ship, but enough to test its reaction. Nothing happened.
The beams touched the hull and vanished. The Saurian commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. Their weapons had been neutralized without even a visible shield. "Sir," one officer said, voice trembling, "their ship, it's not affected by our energy. It's absorbing it, or bending it. I don't know. Our weapons are useless." Bad. Admiral Grant slammed his hand on the console. "This cannot be." Base. "Send the second wave. Focus all energy on the port side." The Saurian ships fired again. A coordinated strike. The energy beams converged on the human vessel, hoping to overwhelm it. But when the beams reached the hull, they disappeared as if swallowed by invisible walls. Some of the Saurian ships were even damaged by the reflected energy, which bent strangely in space. On the human bridge, Claire Bennett watched calmly. "It's working perfectly." Defensive arrays holding. No damage at all. Ryan Carter nodded. "Now we show them the next step. But let's disable them gently, without harming anyone. They need to learn their lesson without dying."
He pressed a series of commands, and a swarm of drones emerged from hidden hangars. Each drone moved like a living creature, faster and more precise than any alien technology.
They approached the Saurian fleet silently. The first drone reached a Saurian battleship. With a pulse of energy, it shut down all systems. The engines stopped. Bess. Weapons powered down. The crew panicked, unable to respond. "Sir!" One Saurian officer shouted. "Our first ship is dead." Systems offline. Admiral Grant's face turned pale. "Do not attack them!" "Do not." But it was too late. More drones disabled more ships, all without killing a single crew member. Power systems failed. Communications went dark. And the fleet was paralyzed. On the human ship, Ensign Liam Brooks watched with wide eyes. Pit. They don't even realize it's happening. They are still trying to fire, but their weapons are useless. "Breath!" Claire Bennett checked the controls. "They won't hurt anyone, but they'll remember this." Bay.
It's the first real demonstration. It's enough to change how they see humans forever.
Ryan Carter looked at the fleet through the viewing screen.
"It is enough to make them respect us."
Bane. Not fear, but respect. The galaxy must understand that humans are no longer to be underestimated. The Saurian admiral finally realized the scale of the human power. He waved his hands helplessly. "Best. Cease fire! We surrender!"
"We will not fight. Do not attack us."
Ryan Carter's voice came over the comms. Calm and firm. "We do not attack unless attacked. We do not destroy unless necessary. We are humans. We have observed the galaxy for centuries."
"Sal, you know that humans are capable of more than you imagined. Some Saurian ships moved closer, trying to understand."
They scanned the human ship again, hoping to find a weakness. But every attempt failed. The human technology was far beyond anything in the galaxy. Ships that had once ruled entire sectors were now powerless against a single human vessel. Meanwhile, scientists aboard the human ship were busy collecting data. Kevin Brooks, the lead scientist, smiled as he monitored the disabled Saurian fleet.
It is working exactly as planned.
They are stunned, confused, and yet unharmed. This will be remembered for centuries. The humans moved slowly through the Saurian sector. Every action was precise. Every drone movement, every shield adjustment, every signal broadcast was part of the demonstration. It was a warning, yes, but also a lesson. Humans had power, but they also had restraint.
Admiral Grant finally ordered his fleet to retreat.
They had no choice. Every weapon, every ship, every strategy had failed.
They had underestimated humans, and that mistake could have cost them dearly.
On the human ship, Ryan Carter addressed his crew. "Good work, everyone."
The demonstration is over. No one was harmed, but they will never forget it. Humanity has spoken without firing a shot. That is the power of patience and intelligence.
Claire Bennett nodded.
Captain, do you think they understand now?
Ryan smiled faintly.
They will. They may not admit it yet, but they will.
Humans have shown the galaxy that we are no longer small. That is the first step toward equal recognition.
Back in the Saurian Empire, the news of the demonstration spread quickly. Leaders in other sectors received the reports and watched the footage.
Some thought it was a trick. Others were terrified.
Most were forced to acknowledge the truth. Humans had built something the galaxy could not match. Ambassadors from other empires sent messages of caution.
Trade envoys withdrew fleets from border sectors. Every empire began reconsidering how they had treated humans in the past. Every insult, every dismissed warning, every small skirmish was now seen in a new light. Humans were no longer weak.
Humans were now a power to respect or risk angering. Meanwhile, the human ship continued its journey.
It did not chase the Saurian fleet. It did not celebrate.
It simply moved with calm purpose, silently demonstrating that humanity had arrived and that the galaxy must take notice. Ensign Liam Brooks leaned back in his seat.
Captain, it's amazing. They were ready to fight, but they couldn't do anything.
Ryan Carter looked at him, eyes steady.
That is the human way. We win without destroying, if possible.
Strength is not just in weapons. It is in knowledge, patience, and precision. Remember that. That is why we survived and why we are now feared and respected.
As the human ship moved deeper into the sector, distant planets watched.
Alien scientists tried to reverse engineer what they saw, but they could not. Alien engineers scratched their heads. The humans had technology, tactics, and intelligence beyond their understanding. And in every corner of the galaxy, one thought began to grow. Humans were no longer a minor species. There was something new, something powerful, something no empire had been prepared to face. For the humans, the demonstration was only the beginning. Brian Carter knew that this was a message, not a conquest. They did not seek to destroy the galaxy. They sought recognition, respect, and equality. But the galaxy would learn quickly that humans could not be underestimated, that patience, intelligence, and careful planning were as deadly as any weapon.
Claire Bennett checked the navigation systems. Captain's sensors show more fleets approaching. Other empires have noticed the demonstration and are sending ships. Ryan Carter nodded.
They
Then we prepare to show them as well. But remember, we show restraint first.
Strength second. That is how humans always survive. End.
So the human ship moved steadily onward, a living symbol of human patience, intelligence, and power. Every alien fleet that tried to stop it failed. Every empire that mocked humans in the past now watched with fear and respect. The galaxy had learned one important lesson. Humans were not weak, and they were not to be underestimated.
The demonstration had ended, but the story of human power had just begun. Across the stars, the whispers began. A new player had entered the game, and it was a human. The galaxy would never forget the day the humans showed what they were truly capable of. Even the smallest human colonies in remote sectors received a broadcast. They cheered silently, proud of what humanity had accomplished. For centuries, humans had waited, learned, and built, and now, for the first time, the galaxy had seen their true strength. Ryan Carter stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. We are not here to conquer. We are here to be recognized. But any empire that tries to challenge us will learn the hard way.
They will remember this for a long time, and they will think twice before underestimating humans again.
The ship continued through the galaxy, calm, steady, unstoppable. And every empire knew one thing: humans had arrived. The Saurian Empire had never faced anything like it. Their fleet, once feared across many systems, had been paralyzed by a single human ship.
Ships that once ruled sectors could not even touch it. Across the galaxy, other empires had received the footage and reports.
The images were shocking. Drones disabling fleets without harming anyone, energy shields that nullified all attacks, and a ship larger and more advanced than anything the galaxy had built. Admiral Leo Grant could not sleep, Bray. He paced his private chamber, staring at a map of the Saurian Empire. How could we have missed this? He muttered. Humans were supposed to be weak, simple, primitive, and yet here they are, stronger than any of us. Lieutenant Maya Hill, standing beside him, shook her head. We underestimated them. Fact.
Every empire underestimated them. We all thought they were small, easy to ignore. And we were wrong, sir. Completely wrong. Across the galaxy, the leaders of the Valen Dominion received similar reports. High Chancellor Darius Cole stared at the screens in disbelief.
Bear, they've grown in secret. They watched us, learned from us, and now they have outgrown everything we knew. Their technology, it's impossible. His aide, Lieutenant Sarah Collins, whispered. It's like they were waiting for the right moment to show themselves. And now we see why.
The revelation caused panic in many sectors. Trade agreements, diplomatic channels, and even long-standing borders were being questioned. Despair. Humans had remained in the shadows for centuries. No empire had noticed the speed of their development.
No empire had predicted their technological growth. And now humanity was here, fully capable of defending itself and enforcing respect.
On the human ship, Ryan Carter and his crew were calm. They had expected this reaction.
The galaxy had always thought humans were weak. Humans had always let others underestimate them. And now the moment of truth had arrived.
Lieutenant Bennett, Ryan said, the galaxy has seen us.
They are reacting. Some with fear, some with respect, and some with denial.
We cannot stop them from thinking what they want, but we must be ready for what comes next. All systems remain ready, Captain. They have started sending messages, requesting talks, alliances, and explanations.
Good. They must understand why we did not attack. Why? We showed strength without destroying. That is what makes humans different. Power. That is what makes them fear and respect us at the same time. Kevin Brooks, the lead scientist, monitored transmissions from multiple empires. Captain, the data is overwhelming.
Every empire is trying to analyze our technology, our strategy, and our intentions. Many are shocked.
Some are afraid. Others are attempting diplomacy immediately. Prepared. Ryan nodded.
Let them come.
Base. We will answer, but on our terms. No empire can dictate how humans will be treated now.
The galaxy must adjust to us, not the other way around. Back in the Saurian Empire, Admiral Grant convened a council with leaders from other nearby sectors.
Screens displayed the human ship in motion, its drones disabling fleets, its shields unbreakable. Every leader sat silently, absorbing the reality.
Admirals, Grant began, we have been blind. We mocked humanity, ignored their warnings, and dismissed their colonies as insignificant.
And now they have shown us that we were wrong. Completely wrong. One council member, General Rawl, spoke with trembling hands. We underestimated them.
Entire fleets are now useless. Our fleets, our technology, our strategies, they mean nothing against them.
Bah, humanity has prepared. While we slept, a diplomat, Narration, leaned forward.
It is worse than that. They observed us for decades, possibly centuries.
Base.
They learned from our mistakes, our battles, our politics. They built their technology in secret. Every empire is at a disadvantage, and we did not even notice. Grant sighed heavily.
We will never recover the time we lost. We treated them as small, weak, and unimportant. And now, the galaxy must answer to them.
Meanwhile, in the Valen Dominion, High Chancellor Darius Coles struggled to control panic in his capital.
Every fleet commander was reporting the same thing. Human ships were appearing at the edges of their borders, moving calmly, avoiding conflict, yet demonstrating power beyond comprehension.
Have humans always been this strong? He asked, no one in particular, pacing.
Or have they grown quietly, learning from us while we ignored them? Sarah Collins, standing nearby, replied,
They have been patient, sir. They planned carefully. And now they act only when they are ready. We cannot match them yet, and we cannot even predict what they will do next.
Across the galaxy, other empires were sending emissaries, trying to establish communication with humans. They wanted peace, but they also wanted to understand the threat.
Pause. Trade negotiations were paused, military exercises were halted, and emergency councils were convened.
Every empire wanted to know one thing. How did humans become so powerful without the galaxy noticing?
Bound.
On the human ship, Ryan Carter reviewed the incoming messages. Most want to talk, he said. Some want to ally. Some apologize. Some want to fight. We must choose our responses carefully.
Psst. Claire Bennett nodded. Captain, do you think they regret underestimating us? Ryan's expression was calm but firm.
Some do. Some are only afraid. But all will respect us soon. Humans have shown restraint, precision, and strength. That is more powerful than any weapon. The galaxy cannot ignore us anymore. Dr. Kevin Brooks, watching multiple data feeds, said, "Captain, they are trying to reverse engineer our strategies. But our methods are not just technology. They are human thinking, patience, planning, observation, and restraint. They cannot copy that instantly." Ryan smiled.
Exactly. Humans do not just build ships.
They build ideas, and those ideas cannot be stolen.
That is why we survived, why we grew, and why the galaxy will remember today. Back in the Saurian Empire, Admiral Grant sent a private message to the Valen Dominion and other nearby sectors.
We were fools. We underestimated humanity.
Every empire must take this seriously. They are patient, clever, and far stronger than we thought.
Humanity is no longer a minor species. They are now a power that cannot be ignored. Across the galaxy, the whispers spread. Stories of human patience, intelligence, and power began to circulate. Humans were no longer primitive. They were a force built quietly, carefully, and without warning. Every empire that had ignored, insulted, or dismissed humans now faced the truth. Humanity had grown beyond expectation. Meanwhile, on a human ship, Ryan Carter addressed the crew. "The galaxy is learning. They regret underestimating humans.
They fear the unknown. But, most importantly, they respect what we have achieved.
Our mission is not conquest. Our mission is recognition, respect, and balance. We show strength, but we do not destroy. That is what makes humanity different." Claire Bennett nodded. "Captain, some empires are requesting ambassadors. They want to negotiate, learn, and understand our presence." Ryan looked at the stars. "We will meet them, but on our terms. Humans do not submit. Humans do not beg. Humans are now equals in the galaxy. That is the message we send. Dr. Bay."
Kevin Brooks spoke up, Captain. "The data shows that many empires are in disarray. Their leaders are debating whether to fight, negotiate, or flee."
They did not expect humans to be capable of this. They are beginning to regret every slight, every dismissal, every insult from the past centuries. Ryan Carter nodded. "Good."
Let them regret it. Let them learn.
But remember, we do not seek vengeance. We seek respect and recognition. That is true human strength.
In the Saurian Empire, Admiral Grant convened another emergency council. Every fleet commander reported their fleets had been disabled, but no ships or lives were lost.
The humans had shown incredible power, but they had spared everyone.
We underestimated them, Grant said, voice low.
Every empire did, and now we must face the consequences. We must rethink every strategy, every alliance, every border. Humans are no longer the small, weak species we assumed them to be. They are now a force we cannot ignore. Outside the human ship, the galaxy seemed to pause. Bay. System stopped. Fleets waited. Diplomats sent messages. Leaders debated. Every empire had a moment of realization. Humans were not just another species. They were something new. They were unpredictable, intelligent, patient, and powerful. Ryan Carter looked at Claire Bennett. About. They are learning. Slowly. Carefully. Bay.
We will guide the galaxy not with destruction, but with example. Humans have always survived because we think, we plan, and we act wisely.
Now, the galaxy must learn the same lesson. Bet.
Captain, it is incredible. They are beginning to understand.
The galaxy will never underestimate humans again.
Ryan's eyes were steady.
No, they will not. And when the empires come to terms with that, they will realize that humans are not just survivors. Humans are leaders in the making, but we do not rush. We do not force. We simply exist and let the galaxy learn at its own pace.
Even the farthest colonies hidden in remote sectors received news of the demonstration. Human engineers, scientists, and explorers in distant systems watched as their home species finally revealed its true strength.
Best. They cheered silently, proud of what humanity had achieved. Across the galaxy, the message spread. Humans had grown quietly, patiently, and with wisdom. They were now a force that no empire could ignore. And the empires that had dismissed them for centuries now faced a new reality. Regret, fear, and respect. And on the human ship, Ryan Carter stood calmly at the bridge, watching the stars. This is only the beginning, he said softly. The galaxy has learned that humans cannot be underestimated.
They will regret ignoring us, and they will respect us. But we do not conquer.
We guide. We survive. Bay.
We endure. And that is the power of humanity.
The ship moved steadily forward, silent but powerful, and across the galaxy, leaders, scientists, and soldiers whispered the same thought. Humanity had emerged from the shadows, and now no empire would dare treat them as small or weak ever again. The galaxy was no longer the same. Every empire had witnessed what humans were capable of. Fleets had been disabled without a single casualty. Weapons had been rendered useless by a single human warship. The Saurian Empire, the Valan Dominion, and dozens of smaller governments had realized that humans were no longer a minor species. They were strong, clever, and patient, and they had emerged from the shadows fully prepared. On the bridge of the human ship, Captain Ryan Carter watched the galaxy spread out before him. He had expected fear, surprise, and curiosity. But he had not expected how quickly the empires would seek contact. Messages had been pouring in for hours, diplomatic requests, apologies, trade offers, and proposals for alliances. Every empire wanted to understand humanity before taking any action that might trigger a war they could not win.
Lieutenant Claire Bennett sat at the communications console, monitoring the incoming transmissions.
Captain, we have dozens of messages. Some are urgent.
The Saurian Empire is asking for a formal meeting. The Valan Dominion wants a delegation.
Smaller empires are requesting trade agreements. Everyone wants to talk, but no one is moving fleets against us. Ryan nodded slowly. Good. That is exactly what we wanted. They must understand that humans are strong, but we do not seek to destroy them. We show power, but we offer cooperation. That is how humans lead. Dr. Kevin Brooks, the lead scientist, joined them at the console. Captain, many empires are attempting to analyze our technology before any meetings. They are trying to understand how we did what we did, but they cannot reverse engineer our thinking. Our methods are not just machines. They are human intelligence, planning, and patience. Exactly. They can copy our ships, maybe even some of our drones. But they cannot copy the decisions we made, the patience we practiced, or the way we think. That is the advantage humans have always had, and it will guide the galaxy from now on.
Yes. The first delegation to meet with the humans arrived in orbit above a neutral planet. It was a group from the Saurian Empire, led by Admiral Leo Grant himself.
Their fleet was small and carefully controlled, and their ships kept a safe distance from the human warship. They had learned their lesson from the earlier demonstration. On the neutral planet, Ryan Carter and his crew prepared to meet the Saurian delegation. The humans walked calmly into the conference hall. Every gesture, every word was measured, respectful, and firm. They did not threaten, they did not bow, and they did not apologize for their power.
They simply existed as equals.
Admiral Grant stepped forward, clearly nervous. "But, Captain Carter," he began, "we underestimated humanity. We mocked you, ignored your colonies, and dismissed your warnings. Now we have seen your strength. We come to ask for peace and cooperation. Pray." Ryan Carter's voice was calm. "You are correct."
You underestimated us. But humans do not seek revenge. We do not destroy unless attacked. We wish only to be recognized as equals.
You have learned a lesson, and we hope you will act wisely from here on. The Saurian delegation nodded slowly.
They could see the calm power in the humans.
They could feel the intelligence behind every action. They had faced strength, but it was not the kind of strength that destroyed. It was strength that commanded respect.
In the following weeks, similar delegations arrived from other empires. The Valan Dominion sent emissaries, smaller empires sent envoys, and even distant trade guilds requested audience with the human leadership.
Base. Every meeting reinforced the same lesson. Humans were patient, careful, and immensely powerful. The galaxy could no longer treat them as weak.
On the human ship, Ryan Carter addressed his officers. The galaxy is learning. They understand our strength and our intentions. But we must continue to act carefully.
Diplomacy is now the weapon, just as our technology was before. Humans survive because we know when to act and when to wait.
That is what will guide the galaxy from now on. Claire Bennett looked at him. Captain, they are nervous, but they respect us. They are trying to rebuild trust and find a balance.
Best.
Ryan nodded. Good.
Respect is more valuable than fear. Fear can be overcome. But respect lasts.
And humanity has earned it by showing strength without cruelty. Meanwhile, in the Saurian Empire, Admiral Grant sent urgent messages to all neighboring sectors.
We have witnessed humans firsthand. Their technology, their strategy, their patience.
Everything is beyond our understanding. We must accept humans as equals. We must negotiate wisely. We cannot challenge them without losing everything. Other empires agreed.
Many had tried to challenge humanity after the first demonstration, but the results were clear. No empire could face a single human warship successfully, and the humans had shown they would not destroy anyone unnecessarily.
Yes, that combination of power and restraint created a new reality for the galaxy.
Even the smaller empires, which had once considered humans irrelevant, began changing their approach. Trade treaties were renewed. Borders were adjusted, and human colonies were now treated with caution, respect, and curiosity rather than neglect or disdain.
Back on the human ship, Dr. Kevin Brooks monitored the data from these negotiations.
Captain, the galaxy is changing quickly. Every empire is reconsidering its policies, its alliances, and its fleets. Base. Humans are now seen as a central force, not a minor species. Our presence alone has shifted the balance of power.
Despair! Ryan Carter looked out at the stars. Ryan Carter looked out at the stars. Yes.
And we will maintain that balance carefully. Humans do not seek to dominate.
We seek recognition, cooperation, and fairness. That is how humanity survives, and that is how humanity leads.
Claire Bennett checked incoming messages. Captain, some empires are asking for joint scientific projects. They want to share knowledge with humans. Others are requesting trade agreements for rare materials.
It seems they understand that humans are now central to the galaxy.
Ryan nodded.
Good. Knowledge and trade create bonds stronger than fleets or weapons. That is why humans always thrive. We build relationships, not just ships. Strength without understanding does not last. But humans know how to combine both.
In the Saurian Empire, Admiral Grant gave a speech to his fleet commanders. We have learned a hard lesson.
Fasting. Humans are not to be underestimated. They do not seek war, but they can defend themselves in ways we cannot imagine.
Every fleet must adjust its approach. Every commander must understand that humanity is now a power equal to any empire.
In the Valen Dominion, High Chancellor Darius Cole sent envoys to negotiate with humans. We must learn from them.
We must treat humans as equals. They are clever, patient, and far more powerful than we imagined.
Our past arrogance has been costly, but we now have an opportunity to work with them, rather than against them.
Across the galaxy, a quiet change began.
Fleets were no longer built just to conquer. Alliances were no longer made only for dominance. Empires were now considering humans in every plan, every strategy, and every negotiation. Humanity had shifted the balance of power not through war but through intelligence, patience, and strategic demonstration of strength. On the human ship, Ryan Carter walked through the halls, observing the crew. Every officer, scientist, and pilot understood their role in this new era. The galaxy would watch humanity closely now, and the humans must act with wisdom. Claire Bennett joined him.
Captain, the galaxy is finally listening. They see us, they respect us, and they want to engage peacefully.
We have succeeded without firing a single destructive shot. Ryan smiled faintly.
Humans win not only by strength, but by showing restraint and intelligence. The galaxy will remember that.
And we will continue to guide this balance without seeking to dominate unnecessarily. Even the smallest human colonies sent reports of the changes.
Trade ships were arriving safely. Diplomatic envoys were being welcomed.
Humans were no longer isolated or underestimated. Every empire had learned a new rule. Humanity could not be ignored. As the human ship moved deeper into space, new opportunities appeared. Some empires asked for joint exploration of uncharted systems. Others requested scientific collaboration. Some sought advice on fleet strategies. Humans now had influence not because of fear alone, but because they had demonstrated intelligence, patience, and fairness. Ryan Carter addressed the bridge crew. The galaxy is changing, and humans are now central to that change. We do not seek war, but we are prepared for it if necessary. We lead not through fear alone, but through wisdom and restraint. That is the human way.
Claire Bennett nodded. Captain, I believe every empire will respect that.
They have seen what humans can do, and they understand that we act differently from any species they have met. Ryan smiled. Exactly. The galaxy has learned that humans are strong, patient, and clever. That is the future we will shape, not through conquest, but through intelligence, strategy, and careful leadership. Bad. Humans will guide the galaxy by example, and every empire will know that humanity cannot be underestimated again. Even in distant sectors, far from the center of human activity, the influence of the humans was felt.
Alien fleets moved cautiously. Trade routes adjusted. Alliances shifted. Empires no longer treated humans as minor players. They had become a central force in the galaxy.
And on the human ship, Ryan Carter looked out at the endless stars. We have shown the galaxy our power. We have shown that we do not destroy without cause. We have earned respect through patience, intelligence, and restraint. That is the way humans survive, thrive, and lead.
Captain, the galaxy will never be the same again, and humans will continue to shape it wisely.
But, yes, Claire, the galaxy will never forget the day humanity emerged from the shadows. They will learn respect, and they will learn cooperation, and humans will continue forward, patient, powerful, and ready for whatever comes next. The human ship moved steadily onward, silent, calm, and unstoppable. Across the galaxy, empires adjusted, alliances formed, and trade resumed under new terms. The humans had arrived not to conquer, but to guide, survive, and be respected. And the galaxy, at last, understood that humanity was a force unlike any other, strong, intelligent, patient, and wise.